BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The United States is to withdraw all of its troops from Afghanistan by September the 11th this year. The move comes hours after it was confirmed that the Taliban and the Afghan government would take part in a US-led peace conference in Turkey later this month. Neda Tawfiq reports from New York.
A senior administration official said President Biden had decided a hasty withdrawal that would put U.S. forces at risk was not a viable option. At the same time, a review of U.S. choices determined that now was the time to close the book on the 20-year conflict in Afghanistan to focus on more acute dangers, such as competition with China, the current pandemic, and the wider terrorist threat across multiple countries.
The US, South Africa and the European Union have said they will temporarily suspend the rollout of the Johnson & Johnson COVID jab after reports of rare blood clotting. Gary O'Donoghue reports.
The regulators are describing this as a temporary pause while they assess the significance of these 6 cases. They say the move is a recommendation, not a mandate, though it will undoubtedly be heeded by local authorities and private healthcare providers. Dozens of states have already announced they will cease giving the vaccine for now. Officials from the Food and Drug Administration said they were acting out of an abundance of caution. An FDA director, Peter Marks, said the blood clots detected in the 6 cases were similar to some identified in Europe as having possible links to the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is not authorised for use in the US.
The white policewoman who fatally shot a 20-year-old black man near Minneapolis on Sunday has resigned, as has the local police chief. The town's mayor said he hoped the resignations of Kim Potter and Tim Gannon would bring some calm to the community, where Dante Wright was killed after a traffic stop. The BBC's Larry Madowo in Minneapolis says the officers had to go.
The training provided to the Brooklyn Center Police has been questioned. How would a 26-year veteran of the police force confuse a gun and a taser? And the family pointed out today that she had about 5 seconds, probably longer, from the moment she drew her weapon to when she fired to have noticed her mistake. Licensed weapon holders said, "I know the difference, even in the weight and the safety of a gun and a taser." So it was inevitable.
France says it is coordinating an international response to Iran's declaration that it's moving closer to producing weapons-grade uranium. The French presidency described Iran's move as a serious development. Washington called it provocative. Tehran began breaching its commitments to the 2015 international agreement after the Trump administration withdrew from the deal. BBC News. An Islamist militant who discussed getting guns for a terror attack in London has been jailed for a minimum of 19 years. 27-year-old Saheb Abu bought a 45-centimetre long sword, a knife, body armour and balaclavas in preparation. Jurors who found him guilty last month rejected his claim that he was making a spoof video. The city of Sarajevo has held a ceremony and funeral to honour a Bosnian Serb general who served in the Bosnian army during the war in the early 1990s, defending multicultural Bosnia from Serb attackers. General Jovan Divjak, who died aged 84, was considered a hero in the city he helped defend during a 44-month siege. A review says Britain's native woodlands are approaching crisis point, with just 7% of them in good condition. Helen Briggs has more details.
Native woodlands are a much-loved part of the landscape. They provide a refuge for wildlife and lock up millions of tonnes of carbon. Yet, according to the charity The Woodland Trust, the vast majority of our native woodlands are in a poor condition, hit by a barrage of threats, including climate impacts, tree diseases and loss to housing and transport developments. It says not nearly enough's being done to protect our existing woodlands. At least quadruple the current rate of woodland creation is needed, it argues, with an increase in the proportion of native trees to give nature a fighting chance of recovery.
A former UN climate chief has suggested it may be necessary to delay an important global warming conference that's due to take place in Britain later this year. The COP26 meeting, due to take place in Glasgow, has already been postponed once, but Eva de Boer told the BBC that the ongoing coronavirus pandemic may make it prudent to delay it once again. BBC News.